Say that again, Miracle.
I said she's not the president of the United States, but she's the reason we have the president that we do now.
So is it, you know, and that was the piece, right? People were saying
boycott her, yes.
So you believe that even though she's not the president,
she's making millions of dollars to talk about why she couldn't do anything and didn't want to help the people of Palestine, boycott that. No, you should not be able to make millions of dollars in peace.
But I was just saying,
same thing with Henry Kissinger.
Come on.
People boycotted him the day he died.
Right.
You know, Blinken, all these people, y'all put us in this mess.
Right.
Y'all need to be, you do not get to live in peace. You do not get to retire in your mansion with millions of dollars and just like travel all over the world in peace. Y'all are the reason the world is a dumpster fire right now. Outside of Palestine, let's be very clear. When when people are like, hey, we need a fair wage, we need better protections for workers, she went with the Restaurant Association, right? When people were like, hey, we need better regulations on businesses, she went with Mark Cuban, who what did he say? You want my endorsement, let go of Lena Khan, who was like the best like FTC director we've ever had in the United States. It was like, you know what? You can't force people to work out at these gyms if they don't want to. You can't put like these bad contracts in here. You have to let people go. Like all this type of stuff that what people really, really liked. So let's be very clear. It wasn't like, yes, Palestine was a thing that people cared about very deeply, but there were actual local policy implications that she just threw away, including Medicare for all, that she just moved away from because she wanted to win. So let's be very clear. People have a right to be like, you put us in this mess. You tried to sit there and become a Republican overnight, and there's 170 days. And instead of saying, I'm like, had she done a book and was like, let me tell you what, and I'm sorry. Right? I am sorry I failed you. I am sorry.
Right.
We could have been having a different, and to me, it's the hubris. Yeah. It is the hubris. Like, I've been talking to people, and people are like, you know what? I did not realize what you were asking.
I would say this, Miracle. I agree with you. Again, if Kamala does say, you know, like, I'm sorry, like, I failed the Palestinian people.
And not just the Palestinians. She failed everybody.
Well, trans people, queer people.
Yeah. But if she does issue kind of like a mea culpa and saying like,
yes, that's what
I would have ran differently. I see now, particularly if you're going to re-emerge in political life. We don't know if that was her plan. There was thinking that she might run for governor of California or she might run for California Senate at some point. If you want to kind of re-emerge in public life, it was this thinking of that she would say, like, if I had to do it differently, I would have stood firmer for Palestinians, stood firmer for trans folks, stood firmer for black people. Now, like, she could go and say, hey, you know, I'm going to go endorse Zoran Mondami. I'm going to go, you know what I mean? Like there's a pathway to
the Jimmy Carter pathway, is what I tell people. Like,
Jimmy Carter.
We need a Jimmy, like we need a Jimmy Carter. And I also think what she could do is, you know, as a black woman, I had so much pressure and I was afraid of failing people. So I listened to, this is why I listened to the pundits. This is why I went away from the things that I knew in my gut was so important. I believed that if I was loyal to Joe, he would be loyal to me. And the reality is that is not true for black women in America. And I knew that in the back of my mind, but I hoped that this time would be different because so much was riding on this election. And I hope that people would see me being the legacy of Biden and they would have supported me, but they did not.
One day somebody gonna hire a Miracle to be there.
And
to be their speechwriter.
This is why we did the 107 days. And the last chapter should have been, shout out to OJ. If I were to do it again.
If I do it again.
This is what I would do.
Rest in peace,
and
Uncle OJ.
This is what politicians should do going forward.
Right.
That is how you do it. That is how you have the humility. That is how you build your brand.
Right. And you reemerge with this different.
That is what Harris should be doing, but she's not. And I think there is a rumor. No, not true it is that, you know, the campaign ended in a little bit of debt.
Right.
And so this book tour is to get that money to recoup the debt.
Yeah.
So that's what's happening. But I do like I said with Barack Obama, these people have such power in the world that they can actually change the world for the better.
Absolutely.